If you've ever gotten to your campsite and realized you forgot the dish soap, the dog treats, or my personal nightmare, the coffee, you know that a little preparation before a camping trip can save you a whole lot of stress once you get there. Over the years, I have developed a pretty simple routine that I go through before every camping trip. And while it might sound like a lot, most of these things are really quick because I keep a lot of our camping supplies in the camper between trips. So today I am sharing the 10 things that I do before every camping trip to make sure our camper is ready to go, and so that once we arrive on site and get set up, we can actually relax and enjoy camping. Let's get started. First up, I will check the weather, and this is something I actually monitor throughout the week. I don't just check the weather at our destination. I am checking the weather along our entire route. When you are towing a trailer, weather isn't just about whether or not you're going to get rained out at the campground. We're not just driving our tow vehicle, we're hauling a trailer behind us. So things like heavy rain, high winds, fog, slick roads, and severe weather can make a big difference in how and when we travel. If I see that we're going to be driving through some really nasty weather, I will take that into consideration when planning our departure time, and if necessary, I'll look at an alternate route. And then, of course, I check the weather at the campground because that's important. We need to figure out what we're going to need once we get there. What clothes do we need? Do we need rain gear? Do we need extra blankets? Because let me tell you, it is amazing in our state how much of a temperature jump can happen in just a few hours drive. Next up is a quick clean, and I am definitely not talking about a deep clean. I actually clean the camper after every trip, so this is more of a reset. I will just wipe down the counters, the table, sweep them off the floors, and generally just make sure everything is clean and organized. I like starting each trip with a clean camper because it makes everything feel so much more manageable. And honestly, I have found that when I stay on top of this stuff, I can completely switch into camping mode once we're set up. I don't want to arrive at the campground and worry about things that need to be done before we can actually start to chill out. I want to get right to it. Next, I make the bed and I restock our kitchen and bathroom linens. Now, obviously, if you have a Murphy bed or you're sleeping in your dinette, you are not going to be making your bed ahead of time. Fortunately for us, our bed has its own designated space, so I can make it before we leave. I will also make sure we have plenty of bath towels, kitchen towels, drying mats, dish scrubbers, and sponges, and definitely don't forget the dish soap. There is nothing worse than getting to the campground, unpacking everything, and then realizing you forgot the one little thing you need to wash those dishes. Number 4 is a big one for me. I plan our meals before we leave, and it doesn't have to be complicated. I usually make a simple list of what we're going to have for breakfast, lunch, dinner for each day that we're going to be at the campsite, and this ties back to that weather forecast too, if you think about it. If we're expecting beautiful weather, maybe we'll grill out every day. But if it's going to be pouring rain and 45 degrees, I'm probably not planning every meal around the grill. I'll find ways to make things inside. So that is going to be part of that menu planning process. And of course, I plan our drinks too. We love a good cocktail around the campfire, so I will usually come up with a cocktail that I can either batch ahead of time or something that's really easy to throw together at the campground, because camping without a cocktail just seems wrong. Number 5 on the list is restocking all of our personal stuff. I will check the toiletries, the personal items, and the medicine cabinet and just make sure we're not running low on anything. And this is also where I like to keep a running list. If I notice we're getting low on something during a camping trip or while I'm cleaning up afterwards, I will jot that down on a list. That way, when the next trip rolls around, I don't have to stand there staring into the cabinet trying to remember what it was we were missing. It's already on the list. Next, I make sure we have plenty of cleaning supplies. Prepare for the unexpected, because let's face it, camping can get dirty. There are going to be spills. There is going to be mud. There is going to be who knows what that gets tracked into the camper by the dogs. So I like to have everything I might need readily available. I always have collapsible buckets on hand, rags, cleaning supplies, disinfecting wipes, and plenty of paper towels. You can never have too many paper towels. And there's one thing that I take on every trip. It actually stays under the sink in the bathroom, and that is a stain stick for our clothes. Like, we're getting undressed at night. If we got something on us, and 9 times out of 10, we have something on us, we'll just use that stain stick on it, because we have learned the hard way, like many people have, that if you forget about a stain and it makes it all the way through to the dryer, it's a permanent souvenir. Number 7 on the list is packing for the puppies. If you have dogs, you know that packing for a camping trip is not as simple as saying, "Come on, Fido," and opening the door to the car. There is a whole packing list for the dogs alone. One thing I have learned over the years is if you have the room, the storage space in your RV, keep camper-specific pet supplies in the camper. For example, our 2 youngest dogs, they sleep in collapsible crates. So we keep those in our underbed storage area along with the crate mats. And for our oldest curmudgeon, Toby, he is the epitome of a grouchy old man. He prefers to sleep in his own doggy bed. So we have a couple of those that we keep tucked away in the camper for him. We also have a basket of dog toys. We keep bowls in the camper. We have a water bottle that we take on our hikes that's specific for the dogs. So when it comes time to pack for the dogs, I'm really just talking about things like food, medication, and unless we want an all-out riot, we've got to have the treats. And because our older boys are 15 years old, both of them, well, we think, so Toby is 15. We think Oscar is 15. His records were not the greatest. He might be 14. Anyhow, they are not quite as enthusiastic about hiking as they used to be. So we will bring along, don't come at me guys, we will bring along a stroller if they need it, or carriers, depending on where we are going. And honestly, you know, they have earned it. If they're 15 years old or 14 and 15 years old and they want to be carried, they earned it. They're getting carried. And definitely don't forget the leashes, even if your dog is incredibly well behaved. Most campgrounds have leash rules, so you'll want to make sure you have those on hand as well. We have some that we actually leave in the RV. We don't take them out unless they are attached to a dog, and they go right back in there at the end of the camping trip. Number 8 on the list is the all-important grocery and supply order. About 2 days before we leave, I will place our grocery and supply order, and I like to have it delivered here to the house because I work full time. It's not easy to get to the grocery store on a weekday. So I will do this, like I said, 2 days ahead of time, because if the store is out of something, I'll still have one more day that I can find it somewhere else if it's something that's critical. And this is where all of those lists that I've been making along this way come in handy. I've already planned our meals. I know what we're running low on. And now I just need to go through everything and make sure I have all of the ingredients and all of the supplies I need on that order. And I mean everything. Don't just think about the main ingredients for dinner. Think about breakfast, lunch, snacks, condiments, coffee. Don't forget the coffee. And if you make s'mores, you better get the stuff for those too, because if you show up without graham crackers, there will be a riot. Number 9 is a step that I like to call packing the giant suitcase, which in this case, I am referring to the trailer as being the giant suitcase. It's time to pack everything up. Honestly, this step is less overwhelming than it sounds because I've done steps 1 through 8. I already know exactly what I need in there. At this point, it's basically just moving everything into the camper. We are lucky enough to be able to park our camper in our driveway, so I have one little trick that makes this even easier. When our groceries are delivered, I take those bags straight to the camper. There's no need to bring them in the house. They're going camping, so we go right out to the camper, and that's where I unload them and pack them wherever they need to go, refrigerator, pantry, cupboard, drawer, wherever. One less step to worry about. And when you're getting ready for a camping trip, I will take every single shortcut that I can possibly get. Number 10, and this is going to be a bit unexpected, I think. I don't know if other people do this, but I do it. Finally, here we are at number 10. And number 10 is I rinse our fresh water hose before every trip. Now, is this absolutely necessary? I don't know, but in my mind, yeah, it's necessary. Water can sit inside those hoses between trips, and I don't love the idea of stagnant water sitting in there. Ew, it's just yuck. For weeks at a time, no. So the day before we leave, or even the morning of, I will flush ours out really well. One of the previous owners of this house actually had a hot water line installed on the spigot just inside our garage door, so it makes this step super easy and convenient. I will let that hot water run through the hose for a few minutes to flush out anything that might have been left behind since the last trip, and then we are ready to go. And that's it. Those are the 10 things that I do before every camping trip to get our camper and ourselves ready to go. Now, I know that might sound like a lot of steps and that I do like way more than I actually should. Some people, guys, I know I'm a little crazy. What can I say? But the reality is of all this, it's not that bad. During camping season, I leave a lot of things in the camper between trips. So I'm really just restocking and getting everything ready for that particular trip. And this is actually the first video in a series that I'm putting together because getting ready for a camping trip, it's only half the story. So I'm also going to be sharing the 10 things I do after every trip. And then we're going to turn the focus on Dan, and we're going to find out what the 10 things he does before a trip are and the 10 things he does afterward. And let me just say, we don't necessarily do things the same way. We are so opposite, it's ridiculous. So if you are interested in seeing how we divide up the work and what happens before and after we hit the road, make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss those videos. And if you have a pre-camping routine or something you always do before you leave, let us know in the comments. We really would love to hear what other campers are doing for prep before they leave. Thank you so much for watching today, and we'll see you in the next video.